You're listening to Podketeers.
Welcome to episode 424 of Podketeers. In this episode, we talk about the new LEGO Haunted Mansion set and who got one. The legendary Pat Caroll passes away at the age of 95. We discuss what Tomorrowland can learn from the Jetsons. Is Disney World getting a name change? Attraction candles from Mel's last park visit, and more. As always, we'd love to hear how you feel about the things that we talk about in this episode, and you can join the conversation on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Just search for Podketeers if you're not yet following us, but we'd love for you to join us on our Discord server. Joining the community is super simple. Just head over to podketeers.com/424 and click on the Discord logo, or you can click on the link in our pinned IG story. A very special thank you goes out to an awesome group of people known as the FGP Squad, our podcast Fairy Godparents, because it's their support via Patreon that help make these episodes of Podketeers possible. As part of the FGP Squad family, you get some additional perks like exclusive discount codes for Podketeers gear, additional content like the Podketeers After Show, and access to our happy hour calls, just to name a few. For more information on how you can become part of the FGP Squad family, we invite you to check out podketeers.com/FGP. And as always, a super special thank you goes out to the FGP Squad for their continued support. So we're going to get this episode started. If this is your first time hanging out with us, welcome. We hope that you enjoyed the episode and that you come back for more. And of course, if you've been hanging with us for a while now, welcome back, friends. Here is episode 424 of Podketeers.
That's fine.
But you know
win
what,
some,
though?
you lose some.
But we won this one. Just like we won every other one.
Well, I won buying a Lego set that nobody else got to get, so...
Yeah, you won.
Dude, that's a big win.
That is.
You know, so I had these early meetings, and I just kept seeing all of the notifications pop up on my phone because there was all these conversations happening about it on Discord. And I happened to glance at one of the notifications, and somebody, it said something about the Haunted Mansion Lego set. And I thought, oh, they must be posting new images, not realizing that it was one that said it's available now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I kept working. I kept doing my thing. I figured, all right, well, when I take a break later, I'll take my lunch. I'll take a quick look at this whole, thread and see what's going on. So I finally get to that point, and I start reading through it, and I'm all like, oh, no, it's available now. Oh, no. Oh, look, Andrew got one. Cool. Oh, look. Oh, some people they were on early. Oh, my God. So I'm going over to Lego.com. I'm doing a search for it and everything. Sold out.
No.
It was sold out. So I figured, maybe I could get one at, the Lego store or something. But the nearest Lego store is at Downtown Disney. And I am pretty sure that those sold out fairly quickly as well.
Probably.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
well,
as it stands right now, sadly, I do not have one, but I did sign up for their snazzy notification that says, tell me when there's more, Lego. And so I'm hoping
it does say
that
temporarily out of stock.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
Oh, that's good.
Hopefully you'll be able to snag one up in the future, just not on the first initial.
I won't get the V1, I'll get the V2.
I'm sure there's no difference. They probably,
I'm sure they're all in the warehouse. They just needed to make
Yes.
sure that they could fulfill all the initial orders.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I know I'm going to be disappointed in this because it's going to be that big. It's going to be 3.5 inches tall. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be cool either way. I want a big one. I want a Death Star sized haunted
Oh, that would
mansion.
be beautiful.
Yeah, it would be nice. I saw somebody post a picture of it on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, something. I don't remember. The point is that somebody had actually gone to the Disney store to purchase one. So, same day they were able to put it together. And, I mean, it's tiny, compared to some of the other Lego sets, but it's a pretty decent size for what it is.
Yeah.
for something, if I just want to put something on the shelf back here behind me, like it's a
Yeah.
nice little size for it. The sad thing is it really only comes with the butler, and that
It comes with some, so it has like an inside part, like
yeah
on the back that
Yeah.
has like a little ghosts, I guess. I don't know.
Mhm.
They're like baby-sized minifigures. I don't know. They're like itty bitty minifigs that are all white, and then there's some portraits. I mean, I didn't know that there was a inside part, so that's at
Surprise.
least something. That's kind of cool.
that kind of caught me
ex-
by surprise too, but it was a good surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
So, if you were anticipating getting your hands on this Lego Haunted Mansion set, sadly, as of right now, it is out of stock. And this is just a day, hours, whatever it is, after the release. And if you sign up, there is a notification for you to sign up. Just give them your email, and then they'll let you know, hopefully, when they're available again. And that's when I hope to grab one for myself.
Yeah.
You'll get one. I mean, or you could pay twice as much and get it on eBay. I went on
Nah.
eBay to look. I was like, how much are they on eBay? $80.
Wow.
No.
Was like that was the day
That's
of it. It says like
insane.
in hand $80. I'm like, okay, eBay.
That must have been one of the Lego store people.
Yeah.
In hand. Yeah.
Yeah. So many announcements this week. There was a lot of stuff going on the socials about Disney. Sadly, we lost Pat Caroll this week.
Yeah.
Pat Caroll, been in the business for a long time. She's done stuff like the Carol Burnett Show. She was on ER. She was, what else was she on? Laverne and Shirley, I think she was on. But, whether you watch those shows or not, you may be familiar with one of her most recognized roles, and that was as Ursula, the Sea Witch, because that rendition of Poor Unfortunate Souls is something special. When she sang that song and it was released for that soundtrack, there was tons of people trying to emulate that. There's so much power behind it, and it's just so graceful. And the thing is that it's such a graceful song and yet evil all at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
the contradiction between the two is insane. She played that character so well. And it's going to be difficult, but 93, I think, is how old she was when she passed. That's an amazing life.
95.
95?
Still
95.
amazing.
Wow.
Still
That's
amazing,
insane.
especially these days.
Yeah. So, I mean, our hearts go out to Pat's family and friends and everyone that knew her and had an opportunity to just be around her. Like, I saw her perform, like, her performances. Like, there was a couple videos that began to circulate as people were remembering. And, she did a live version of it, like a reading of it that was super fun. I don't know. See, this is one of those, like, when things happen at expos like D23 or like
Mhm.
Midsummer Scream and all that stuff, which happened this last week, like, you never know when something like this is going to happen, right? So you always want to take
Right.
advantage and you want to, like, be a part of it. And I think that's always why I've been such a huge fan of the Parks panel, the Disney Legends panel, and everything. So tons of stuff happening also for D23. I think we're going to talk about that next week so we can kind of wrap our head around all of the panels and stuff that's going to be happening. But Pat Caroll, yeah, definitely will be
She
remembered.
also she was a voice in the Rapunzel Tangled Adventures TV series as well. She played Old Lady Crowley. Looks like a few at
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 episodes.
Wasn't she also in My Neighbor Totoro?
That is a possibility. I'm on IMDb right now. What year?
My
did that
mind
movie
is
come
being blown right now if she was, because I've seen
think
it.
Mine-
And I
yep,
did not.
She played Granny in the
Yeah,
English
yeah.
dub.
They did the re-release in like 2010 or 2012 or something like that, and she was one of the voices on there.
Ah.
Yeah, she's got. I mean, on her IMDb, she's got stuff it's a lot of Ursula. I mean, there's a lot of Ursula stuff happening in here, but there's Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. There's a pup named Scooby-Doo as a voice.
I remember
a
that
TV
show.
series called She's the Sheriff. That was right before The Little Mermaid. A Goofy movie, additional voices. Kingdom Hearts as Ursula. Nancy Drew the movie in 2007. Bridesmaids, uncredited. Old Woman in a Car.
What?
What?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, 2011's Bridesmaids. Old Woman
It's a
in the
great
Car.
movie, by the way.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, working up until her last credit on IMDb is The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse TV short series as Ursula. That was 2020.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So, and Melissa and I saw Pat
Yeah.
Caroll at the Grand Californian after a D23 once.
We did.
We didn't bother or anything, but we're
Nope.
like, there she is right there. She looks tired. She looked very tired.
She
because
did.
It was the end of the day, and I'm sure she was being toted around all the expo. This was it was 2015 or 17.
Yeah, it was a while back.
And it was a sight to see. It was just like, oh, there she is.
Yeah, we did get quiet.
That's so
We
cool.
were really far away too.
We were. Just being as discreet as possible. But yeah, we were just like,
Let her go to her room.
yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I would have been like, hey, can somebody grab one of those like scooters to drive Miss Carol around here? Like, what's going on? Why is she walking?
Oh, she was in a chair. She was being pushed in a wheelchair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think it was. I mean, I wouldn't assume otherwise as a 87-year-old lady being pushed around in a wheelchair at that point or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she was in a wheelchair. I'm assuming going to her room for the night. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was just like, oh my God, there she is.
You know, it's funny. Anytime those interactions happen, I've had plenty of times where I've seen, celebrities or former Imagineers, voiceover artists, whatever the case is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you're at the expo, it's different because they expect for people to come up and ask for a photo, ask for an autograph, like as part of it. But then
Mhm.
anytime you see somebody like outside of it or outside of the parks, like I feel so bad going up to them and bothering them.
Yeah.
That I do the same thing you did at, like there was I've seen former Imagineers like eating at like Mrs. Knott's, for instance.
Mhm.
And I feel so bad going up to them and be like, hey, how's it going? Hey, can I get a picture? Because they got
Yeah.
enough on their mind. Like,
It's also, you never know who's just having a bad day or who just wants to be left alone.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's plenty of people that would just be like, I love to talk to everybody, da da da. And then there's other people that are like, I just came here for some chicken. Can I
Right.
have a quiet time, please?
I mean, they're human, right? And I think
Exactly.
that's one thing that we forget, that we, as much as we enjoy everything that they've done, like, they're people.
Exactly.
And we have to respect them as such. They're real boys and real girls, and they're not puppets.
Yeah, they're not statues to be. Yeah. If you know what, anybody listening, if you ever see me anywhere, feel free to come up. I know I seem like a big celebrity and everything, but you know what? If you see me at the parks or somewhere, don't feel afraid. Just come on up, say hi, we'll get a photo. Maybe you could buy me a churro or something. It's all right.
Andrew's a big teddy bear. Like, when
Yeah.
you see him, he's just a big ball of happy. So never feel intimidated when you see Andrew.
I try to be.
Yeah, I've been told I have resting bleep face. So
Grumpy cat face.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
I like
There you
that.
go.
I'm going to use that one. Yeah, so especially when I'm tired or when I'm really hot, it tends to kind of just like droop down and just goes into like mode. And so people are like, I wanted to say hi, but you look like you were angry. I'm like, no, I'm not angry. That's just my natural state. So thanks. So, yeah, I mean, if you ever see celebrities and by no
like
means
me
are
or
we saying that
Melissa
we're
or
celebrities.
Heyzen.
No, we're not
What are you
celebrities.
talking about?
No.
There are tens of people that listen to this podcast. Tens of them.
Dozen and a half to be exact.
I know most of them personally, but needless to say.
It's so funny. Anyway, again, our hearts go out to Pat Carroll's family and friends. It's a big loss in the Disney community, but after dedicating so many years, we hope that she is definitely resting in peace. Hey, I wanted to this is totally random. It's not Disney at all, but I wanted to say something about this because my brother sent me this article, right? And did you ever watch the Jetsons growing up?
Yes.
Okay. So my brother sent me this article about how some people figured out that on the show they talked about how George Jetson was 40 and a glimpse at his ID on the cartoon. They figured out that George Jetson would have been born July 31st, 2022. So just days before this episode is released or recorded, we are officially celebrating the birth of George Jetson.
Mm-hmm.
And so, fast forward, the show is based on 2062, and there's all these houses and buildings on these huge poles. And if you've seen the Jetsons movie, you know that the reason that they are in Orbit City, that's what the location is called, the reason the homes are so high is because the earth is just polluted and it's just horrible and they couldn't take it, so they go above the clouds, they go above the smog and they go, to where it's safer. I hate to say it, but I was thinking about it man, Hanna-Barbera had a really good grasp on what the future would look like in 2062. We're in 2022, and we're already kind of seeing a lot of the things that they designed or created for this cartoon back in the 1960s, 1962 to be exact. Yet Tomorrowland was originally designed about 10 years prior, was based in 1985, and feels like it got stuck in 1990.
Yeah.
So, what's up with that?
What's up with that? What's up with that? I said, ooh wee. What's up with that? That's my favorite SNL sketch.
What's up with that?
What's up with that? I think what's up with that is people are trying to predict the future, and they predict too close to the present. I think like Paris has done and like other places have done, instead of picking, okay, this is 2058 and da 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 da, this is the retro future, or do something like that, or this is the future as imagined by so and so. Like the Paris one is very Jules Verne because Tony Baxter loves Jules Verne, and a lot of Imagineers for some reason really love Jules Verne, and
it's very steampunky.
Yeah, it's all steampunk. That's Jules Verne. So if you were to say, all right, this is do the 60s, the future in the 60s or something, like the very mod, like the Jetsons type thing, where it's like, all right, the house of the future and the round and the white and the, all out of glass and da-da-da-da-da, kind of like what they're doing over in, is it Hong Kong that's getting the new Space Mountain?
I believe so.
They're doing kind of a different thing where it's like a blob, but it looks cool. It's just gotta kind of pick a thing. I don't think brown is a very good future color like they tried to do.
Yeah.
Brown Space Mountain, brown Tomorrowland. That was a
Brown,
bad
bronze,
idea.
Yeah.
Brown.
Mustard brown.
Yeah, it was brown. Everything was brown, and it was bad. But yeah, I don't know. This is not an original idea. I've seen people talk about this before, that instead of trying to predict the future, use the tomorrow of a past to kind of get yourself centered, and that way stuff doesn't go out of date because it's locked in a time that's already in the past. You're not trying to keep updating. It's like, okay, this is it was the future in the 90s or whatever. That's like Tomorrowland Walt Disney World with Carousel of Progress. I'm like, okay, and now it's the future. And it's like, all right, they have VR or whatever, but it looks like Space Invaders and an oven that, still looks like it's from 1982 and stuff like that. So,
and it is a super difficult thing to predict. It's just interesting that the design elements of the Jetsons are very futuristic. They're very bubbly. They're very, they feel like the future. Like even watching the Jetsons today, it doesn't feel like it aged all that much.
No, not at all.
There's a certain beauty to how the Jetsons was made that I really like. And I think there's a lot of elements of Tomorrowland. For instance, the design of the Space Mountain building, that does still feel futuristic. Like when you look at that, it definitely feels futuristic. But a lot of the other elements they do seem outdated. So if Disneyland settled on a year, I wonder how they would determine what year they want to circle around and what the design elements would be, because again, the Jules Verne design for Paris, I get that, the whole steampunk thing.
That's the brown. They have brown.
Yeah, if you think of the stories of the SEA and everything, like Jason Chandler, starting off, at that point in time, that felt like the future to them, right? Having all these metal elements, and it felt like robotic parts and everything. So it looked futuristic. But for us, there's so much in Avengers Campus that feels much more futuristic than Tomorrowland at this point. But I think the biggest issue, we may have talked about this at one point when we were Imagineering that section, but technology just moves so fast now that in those times, there were leaps and bounds made every 10 to 15 years technology wise, right? They were in very small increments. Now, the tools that we have at our disposal, look how fast we went from having an iPhone first edition to what are we at, 13 now?
Yes.
13 versions of the iPhone in 10, 12, 15 years or whatever. It's insane how fast technology moves.
That's like when you get into the 80s, when Epcot opened, they had this whole show I talked about on Disneyland, a Studer Computer Review, and it was out of date by the time Epcot opened, because it was talking about, okay, here's our whole thing of central computers, and this is what computers do, and da-da-da-da-da, and they designed it, and then by the time Epcot opened, there was home computers.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, well, who cares? It's a computer. I got one in my house. I get it. It has a floppy disk, and you can play Pong or whatever. I don't know. But so they had to retool it to kind of talk about more of what the functions it was doing. And so things yearly, if not soon, even quicker than that, can go out of date. Even in the 80s, it was things were changing so rapidly, like you were saying.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like I want to put that question out for everyone. Given the fact that, Tomorrowland really isn't Tomorrowland, but if we settled on a decade maybe that we thought was okay, well, let's do future retro, like you were talking about earlier. What would be a good year for us to circle around? Do we want to make it 80s or 90s and just kind of stick to that, but really commit to it? Or do we want to do the early 2000s or 2020 and beyond or something, so that it's new enough that it still feels futuristic? You can get away with some design choices that would make it feel futuristic? Or do we want to full blown just be here's our past, and just call it Pastland going forward?
Well, they could do past with the twist. I mean, that's one way to do it if they wanted to, because the 60s still had a lot of... There was a time where, all the appliances are still alive today. So it's I think it's about the 60s. I could be wrong. But I think that would be a really good one to go with. And if they were to just twist it up, it's possible. just add a bit of like white, pearl, make it match Space Mountain. Boom.
Make everything look like Space Mountain.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just make everything look. That's my whole idea. Make everything look like Space Mountain.
Yeah.
Like Space Mountain is cool. I don't think anybody can say Space Mountain is not cool. Looks cool.
It is.
Make everything else match with Space Mountain.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do, and be like, okay, this is the future of the 60s, what people thought of in the 60s, what the future would be. So there can still be future technology and stuff, but it's the future as viewed through the lens of the 1960s.
Yeah.
So you can have those cool, like, you can have flat screen TVs, but they're like those cool rounded edged ones that are shaped weird and all this different stuff like that, where everything looks kind of fun, as opposed to like, all right, here's the brown Astro Orbiter, and here's the Batmobile people mover thing, the rocket rods, and here's a brown Marvel and Star Wars thing that's still hanging out for some reason, and here's some gasoline cars putting about, and like and there's Buzz Lightyear for some reason, and Star Wars, and it's Tomorrowland, I guess.
Yeah.
It's Spaceland. It's Spaceland is what it is currently.
I mean, it would be cool if it, like you said, match Space Mountain, have the music soundtrack to be, hey, let's pull all this inventory we have, play it,
That old Space Mountain soundtrack where it's like surfer music.
I was kind of going for Tron, but okay.
Oh no, that's not. See, Tron is not 60s though, but I mean, you could fit it. You could fit it in a way. You could have it redone
exactly
to where it's Daft Punk, but done in rockabilly or something or whatever.
Why
not? Or computer music.
I don't know. I feel like you could get away with Daft Punk though. Like the funny thing about what you're saying is that, you think back like on what started this, the Jetsons, right? The Jetsons is heavily based on the 1960s architecture. The house, the Monsanto house. The Monsanto house was heavily inspired by that. It's like so much so that the Howard Johnson in Anaheim, across the street from Disneyland, opened up the Monsanto House of the Future suite. And so it's got like all those rounded edges and everything that Andrew's talking about, and it looks amazing. Right? And so there's a certain charm to that architecture where Andrew's right. Like if they made like the big screen TVs to have like the hard edges but kind of like curved like outer edges.
Yeah.
Like it looked bubbly but yet, hard edged, and I don't know. I think they could get away with that. Like I think the 60s actually is a great decade to circle around.
You're welcome.
Even with Daft Punk, like it still fits because it's future themed, right?
You hear that, Disney? You're
retro
welcome.
Elements, but you have I don't know. If I have to choose, I'm going with the 60s. That's my official choice.
Yes, I agree as well. Like the future of the 60s. Like what they then that's the Jetsons too. That's like all that, like you're saying, it's all the same stuff. Make it white, make it blue, make it not brown.
Silvers, maybe.
Silver would be nice, yeah.
Not brown. How about not brown? I'm gonna just say not brown.
Yeah.
How about no brown?
Oh, they had a lot of bright yellows as well.
Yeah, gray, yellow. I mean, like, but white and silver and like light blue, or like, what do you think of a Space Mountain? Like, it's cool. There's plenty of, and it's just gonna look cleaner, classier than having. I mean, I think that's Tomorrowland has an identity crisis and an identity problem, and it's because it's such an amalgamation and just a hodgepodge of whatever was there before. They're like, okay, we're going to add this new thing. We're going to change that thing. That thing's left over. That's over there. It's just a bunch of stuff that nobody's decided to do something cohesive with. Other lands, New Orleans Square really hasn't had anything added to it other than the landscaping and yada, yada, yada. So they've been able to stay nice. And same thing with Frontierland, Big Thunder Mountain, 1970, whatever. That was the last time anything was added. So lots of things, and it all fits in with the same theme. Tomorrowland is such a big land. if you think about it, if you compare to New Orleans Square or Frontierland or Adventureland for that matter, like those three lands, Adventureland has 3 attractions. New Orleans Square has 2. Frontierland has 1. If you don't count like the shooting gallery, or if you don't count the Mark Twain as part of attractions, or 2, there you go. Tomorrowland has like 7 attractions. Like that's just pulling a number out of my head, but 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 at least if you count the theater that does nothing. The 2 theaters that do nothing, that would be 8.
There's 2.
So besides Fantasyland, it's the next largest land, and there's no cohesive theme. There's no anything. Fantasyland had its redo in the 80s. We've been calling for it here, on the monthly, maybe. I don't know. We talk about Tomorrowland a lot and I think a lot of other people talk about Tomorrowland a lot because it's very sad to think what Tomorrowland was and what Tomorrowland is and what Tomorrowland could be. With just, $1 billion or something.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be talking about the D23 Expo possibly next week. And maybe we can speculate about what we want to see. And maybe that decision might be made. Who knows? We might still be waiting another 10 years. But it's always fun to speculate.
Yeah.
I love to speculate.
Hey, speaking of speculation and rumors, I want to hear your thoughts on this real quick because Twitter was abuzz this week because there was a rumor going around that apparently Walt Disney World was going to be renamed Disney World. And people were kind of losing it because they're like, they're taking the Walt out of Disney. They did this back in July when they didn't do Walt's speech at Disneyland. And like people just lost it, right? Let's play what if, right? Like let's say that they did remove the Walt from Disney World. Is it really the end of the world? Like, don't people already call it Disney World?
Bingo.
I mean, I
Bingo.
don't, but most people do.
Yes. I was going to say, they already call it that. I mean, people got too much time on their hands.
Their official website is disneyworld.com.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not waltdisneyworld.com, it's disneyworld.com.
It's adding more fuel to the fire.
Like every commercial that I've seen, when they're talking about going on vacation and, when people win the Super Bowl, they're not like, where are you going now? You just won the Super Bowl. I'm going to Walt Disney World. No, they're like, I'm going to Disney World.
Exactly.
I'm going to the Walt Disney World Resort.
In Florida.
Yes, in Florida. In Buena Vista, Florida, or whatever it's called. Osceola County, Florida. That's where I'm going.
Look, I don't think they would ever change Disneyland's name, right? Because 1, it's the original park, and 2, I don't think there's really anything to truncate from the name. But maybe I don't see it as a big deal because I don't frequent Disney World. Like, I didn't grow up going to Disney World, and I know that there are hardcore Disney World visitors the same way that we have them here at Disneyland, right? Because they're locals, just like we're locals here. But I don't know. Like, Walt didn't even want Walt in the name. Like, when it was first designed, like, he didn't even want his name on it. And it was Roy that did it to honor his brother since he passed away before it opened, while it was still being built. So I don't know. I want to say I don't care about it because I don't feel like it affects me. Like, I've always just called it Disney World to begin with.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, like, I'd love to hear how frequent visitors to Disney World feel about this because maybe they have that. It's kind of like Main Street Electrical Parade to me, right? Like, I'm like, okay.
We already call it MSCP.
Yeah.
We don't even say the whole name.
I just call it Not Paint the Night, so yeah.
There you go. No, there's some people who actually, no. In a lot of Disney groups, I see this constantly. People refer to Disneyland or Walt Disney World as Disney only. and I've seen that a lot.
Yes,
point.
Disney as a collective name, which bothers me a little.
Me too, because you don't know exactly what they're talking about. But
like, we're
it's
going
brought
to
up
Disney.
a lot.
Okay, which one?
Right?
But yeah, that is a common parlance for a lot of people. Is just Disney, going to Disney. Most of the time, people are referring to Walt Disney World that I see when they say going to Disney, but it has been used for both. I'm trying to find a funny tweet that I saw about this name change thing, but I can't find it because I didn't save it because whatever. But I don't think it's gonna change. I think it would honestly cost them too much money to change all the Walt Disney World branding
Ding, ding.
throughout the resort, on every piece of paper that exists in the resort, every sign, every bus, everything, parking spot, this thing, that thing, the other thing. Everything is branded Walt Disney World. I think they could start in advertising just calling it Visit Disney World, da 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 da. But I don't think they're. Yeah, well, the commercials I've seen, they say the Walt Disney World Resort. It's spelled out full on the thing. But I think they could go that way, marketing wise and whatever, without going the full thing. They're just kind of using the slang terms for social media and da 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 da. But I think it's gonna cost them too much money to even consider changing the name with plaques and the sign. Everything is just and it's such a classic looking sign too, with Walt Disney World and everything. But yeah,
I mean, I agree on the plaques and everything that you're saying, but everything else, there's a finite amount of bags and stationery and all that stuff that they have, right? So who's to stop them from gradually making the change?
This is true.
Where they're just ordering bits and pieces at a time, where it doesn't feel like this huge $2 million hit to change everything versus doing it over 5 years. I don't know. Again, I want to hear from Disney World fans, or I'm sorry, Walt Disney World fans, because I don't know if this is a big deal. I don't know if even people that frequent the parks in Florida are, really care about this either. Because like you said, there's short term for everything, right? Even here, I very rarely hear people call it Disney California Adventure. It's either California Adventure or
Park.
DCA.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Park, exactly. So I don't know. I feel
Disneyland's name is technically Disneyland Park.
Yeah, and
But nobody calls it that.
Nobody does.
Yeah. So, if you frequent Walt Disney World, is this a big deal? How do you feel about the change? Do you think that the company has purposely taken Walt out of the company? Or do you just think it was blown out of proportion? Or do you even think that it's even going to happen? Andrew made a really great case of why he thinks it wouldn't happen at all. I'm inclined to agree with a lot of the points that he made. So join the conversation over on Instagram, Facebook, or we'd love for you to join us on Discord. Actually, if you haven't joined, it's really simple. You can head over to podketeers.com/424, click on the Discord logo, or you can click on our pinned IG story. There's a Discord one there. You just click on the link and you'll be able to sign up with just a couple of clicks. Yeah, I'd love to hear what people have to say about that. So, before we move on, I do want to remind you that this episode of Podketeers is brought to you by a fantastic group of listeners known as the FGP Squad, our podcast Fairy Godparents, because it is their support via Patreon that help make these episodes possible. If you want more information on how you can become part of the FGP Squad family, head on over to podketeers.com/FGP. There you will find a list of some of our top contributors, a little bit about what the FGP Squad is, a link to our Patreon, and of course, if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. But being a part of the FGP Squad family gets you some additional perks like discount codes on new Podketeers gear, access to our happy hour calls, access to additional content like the after show, other content that we've uploaded to Patreon as well. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have. And of course, to all of the members of the FGP Squad family, we just want to send a huge thank you for all of your continued support.
Thanks.
Yay! We should play the little kids.
I should do it like
Go.
state, like. I don't know. Ohana means family.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know.
That's what we need. We need a new Ohana shirt or a sticker at least. Well, let's brainstorm one up.
Yeah.
Mel, you went to the parks recently, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
How was your trip?
Humid. No, it was fun.
I was gonna say because it was hot. How did you hold up?
That's a fantastic question. Lots of magic, pretty much. No, I got to go back for Jill's birthday, and it was a warm day. Yay! And we ended up doing the let's go with the flow because there were some hiccups that we already hit, and we're like, no, let's just go with the flow. Let's just see what happens. And it was really, really cool. And it was nice to be back. We hit a New Orleans Square, and we're like, okay, let's look at different things. I want to trade pictures. Let's just do whatever. And so we go to the store. And remember how we spoke about the candle, the Madame Leota one?
Oh, yeah. I was excited about this because, there's all these companies that make these great smelling candles.
Right.
And now there's an official Disney one. So I need to hear this review.
Everyone who says it smells like mansion is lying.
What?
If I will say this because I'm a huge fan of the Spireside candles and their wax. To me, it has heavy hints of like grass and whatnot, things that smell old and antique. And with this candle, we're both smelling it, and we're just like, okay, it's light, so I think they're playing it safe with the scent. But if you're really wanting to like open it up, light it, smell like the mansion, no, it's not gonna smell like the mansion. It's gonna smell like disappointment. Unfortunately, and I'm sorry. If you have the candle and you like it, that's cool.
Sad.
But for me, it's no. And Jill was like, no, this is not it. Because we would have bought it. And that was one of the things we wanted to try out. So
that's disappointing.
Sorry.
Especially for like an official Disney product.
Yeah, exactly.
You would figure, as much as they play with our emotions and our stomachs when we're walking through Main Street, you would figure they have this whole like scent thing nailed down. When you're going through Soarin', the way that the oranges smell, the way that the ocean smells, like it's not foreign to them. They know how to work with scents.
Right.
Like, how could they not get such an iconic one right?
That is exactly what we asked too. We're like, what happened? Oh, wells. But we wanted to try it out. So we knew it was there. Let's try it out. Hey.
Was it billed as smelling like the mansion? Did it say like anything on it, or it was just a candle and it?
It's a good question. Not sure.
Picture of Leota. Yeah, because some of the things like if it was billed as such, then I would be super disappointed. If it wasn't, I mean, I'd still be disappointed because it's what I want. But
right, and it's pretty.
I remember. I think it's on Shop Disney as well.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, it was very cool looking. But how are they not getting into this business? There's all those companies that do all this. I'm surprised that they've not tried to get into this market. They can buy the official scent that they use and just drop it in there, right? They can put it in a bottle and sell it to us, and we can use it as car air freshener or whatever.
In bulk.
Exactly.
Oh, I would ask for it in a light
mouth.
spray that I can spray under my arms so that I just smell like it.
Exactly. It's like, mouth, breath freshener, all kinds of stuff. So this is something they could be doing. And I don't think it would I don't think it'd be too hard to do. So get on it. Hey, Disney, you want to hire us to come up with good ideas? That's one of them.
That's one
just
of them.
Sampling. We will get better ideas.
Right?
Sampling
Do
of
it.
what you could be doing with us.
You could be
All right.
doing. Just listen to this podcast. There's so many ideas. Anyway.
So I had to look it up, right? Because I remember
Right.
seeing the jar before. It's a nice brown jar. It's got like the Leota headstone on it. So it's really well themed. And I love the aesthetic. I love how it looks. But here is the official description from shopdisney.com. Ready? Whenever
Ready.
candlelights flicker, ghosts are present, practicing their terror with ghoulish delight. So light up this ghoulishly gorgeous scented candle in a stoneware base that features Madame Leota and the epitaphs of several of the Haunted Mansion residents. Magic in the details. Stoneware matte finish candle base. Sides feature oval Madame Leota against green cameo design plus tombstone text from the Haunted Mansion attraction. Single wick black candle. Ode are wood scented. Ode Agerwood? Augerwood? I don't know how to say that. Scented. Flat green press-on lid with silicone gasket and debossed logo of the Haunted Mansion. So, on the plus side, nowhere does it say that it's supposed to smell like the mansion. On the downside, it doesn't smell anything like the mansion.
It doesn't.
Exactly. We need our top men working on this.
They need a
Top
whole
men.
Disney division.
Top
Listen,
men.
you're joking about that.
Top
okay?
anybody.
But
I don't care.
If this was a thing, okay, that was happening when Walt was around, like if somebody brought to his attention, hey, this candle doesn't smell like the Haunted Mansion, I bet you Walt would have been like, put our top men on this. I need this candle to smell like the mansion.
Well, especially it was like, oh yeah, by the way, there's these other companies that are making candles that smell like your stuff. They'd be like, why are we not selling candles that smell like our stuff? Like, we could be making that money.
Exactly.
I mean, not to be like mean and trying to take away the things from these small shops and stuff like that, but if you could get the official scent where it smells officially like what you want it to, then great. I'm just it's mind blowing that they haven't attempted this yet.
Right.
Yeah.
I think even Universal has some scented candles that smell like E.T. or something like that. The E.T. ride, if I'm not
Nice.
mistaken. So other places are doing stuff, and we get an augerwood smelling candle or whatever that was.
Yeah. I had no idea that Universal had candles.
Neither
Now
did
I
I.
know what a minion smells like.
Banana.
Banana. Oh, come on.
Good one.
We know this.
You know what's funny? This reminds me of, I don't know if you remember, but like 2 years ago maybe, people were going nuts over this Bath and Body Works candle called Crystal Waters. It was like this light blue candle that smelled exactly like Pirates of the Caribbean, according to what people were posting on Twitter and everything. And so I remember my wife was on a mission. Like, she had seen this post and she went out looking for it, and they didn't have it locally, so she ended up ordering online, and it got to us. She was so excited. She opens up the box and she smells it, and she's like, this smells nothing like Pirates.
Smells like
And so
the
she
beach.
brought it to me, and I smelled it, and it smelled nothing like Pirates. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, maybe the Pirates at Walt Disney World has a different scent to it, and that's what people are connecting with it. And then I started seeing people posting, this smells nothing like the Walt Disney World version of Pirates either. And I thought, well, I feel gypped, right? Because at least this one wasn't branded as an official Disney candle or anything like that. But how people were getting that this smelled exactly like Pirates is beyond me, because it smelled like clean laundry. Like, nothing about Pirates smells like clean laundry to me.
Yeah, nothing. They aren't even clean.
Yo ho. A detergent's
boy.
life for me. All right, all you pirates, get out there and wash your knickers. All right, we're gonna wash all your little caps and your pants and your bandanas, and we're gonna wash them up real good so we smell like good, clean pirates.
I
That's
think
exactly
Disneyland
what they
found
say.
its new commercial. You're welcome.
Now that Pirates is open again, that's how we bring them back in.
Oh man,
That's funny.
Make sure to get all those pit stains out. What did Melissa? Did you have any more trip stuff to talk about? Like what else happened?
Sorry, I know we got sidetracked.
We got sidetracked on the candle.
So the magic moment we had was we went up to the cast member and I just wanted a picture of the horse. That's all I wanted. So I went up and I asked, I go, hey, is it okay if I go up and take pictures? And the gentleman was like, yeah, sure. And you know what? After you're done, you're going to go ride Haunted Mansion. And our faces were just like, what? Wait, what? We didn't have to wait. This was beautiful because that never happened. So that was cool. That was like one of the best parts of this trip was not having to wait for Mansion because it's always an ugly line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in the heat, it's not any better. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, that is beautiful. That is definitely a magic moment.
Oh, yeah. And then afterwards, we went to DCA, and we were like, you know what? The place to be has been Avengers Campus. Like, we've been there for like hours. You could just watch everything. And honestly, Pim's has great seating, and I'm going to tell you why. By the way, I will get to the elote right there in a little bit. So, basically, where we were sitting,
you're on the edge of our seats.
I know. I'm sorry. So when you go into Pim's and you come out, when you're coming out, you know how they're seating immediately to your right? Mm-hmm. Sit there, and you get very good shots of the Quinjet and anybody who's by it. So if you sit closer to the building, you're not going to get a good shot. If you're back, it's perfect. So tip to anybody who's going and wants to get pictures, that's pretty much the one way to do it. Now, this pretzel. Heyzen, I sent you a picture because you know what?
I know.
It's not easy. It's not easy finding Mexican cuisine or food that reminds you of outside the gates. Like outside of Disneyland.
Are you trying to tell me that the chimichangas that they serve by the Matterhorn are not authentic Mexican cuisine? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now? Are you trying to tell me that?
Let me take this one.
Okay.
No.
What?
The chimichanga, although tasty, is the Taco Bell of cuisine when it comes to Mexican food in the parks.
It is filling.
You know what? Mind blown. I never would have guessed. My goodness.
People are going to come at me. I feel like people are going to come at me for saying it's the Taco Bell of cuisine.
You're gonna start telling me churros are not authentic,
no, they are.
Shape or
they
flavor
are.
No, those are
or
fine.
anything. And
those are made by Don Jose. And you can buy them at Smart and Final. So yes, those are authentically made by a machine.
Perfect. Okay, at least an authentic Mexican manufactured machine. Just like Grandma used to make out of the churro press.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sorry, just like Abuelita used to make. I have to get my terminology right.
It's all good.
I'm sorry, but anyway, there was some authentic pretzel or something we were talking about.
It's not just the pretzel, it's what they put on the pretzel, like
mayonnaise.
No. This has everything else but that. And so,
everything else.
Everything else. I'm sorry. I don't know how else to describe it. But it has all just the ingredients. That's what I'm trying to say. The ingredients that they're using is like the legit stuff. So for me, I was just like, oh my gosh, this was a feast between me and her because she ordered the larger one. And so we were just chowing down to this. And this thing is like my forever. Like if I come back, that's what I get. I have to have this, this is going to be my new staple. And it's beautiful. And it's
not
yummy.
Like a limited time thing or anything?
No.
As far as you can tell, it's just like a new addition, or is it something? I don't remember seeing it there, but that I also just ordered a candy bar because I'm a crazy person for breakfast.
We almost tried. Almost. But no, it's just this. Ooh, so good.
It looked delicious.
Right.
First I got a picture of candied bacon from Jill, and that already was like, okay, that got my mouth watering. And it was at a point during the day where I had not eaten, and so it just like I texted back to Homer drooling emoji because that's literally how I felt at that moment. And then not much later, we get this text from Mel with this thing that looks amazing, like all the toppings on it. Like, I first I didn't like see what it was, and then I realized what you were showing us, and I thought I need this. Like I'm drooling, I'm hungry. Like I need 4 of these. And then as I'm scrolling the social networks, I see all of these posts about the new goodies that are coming to the parks for Halloween, and everything looks so freaking good. So, moral of the story, kids, is if you haven't eaten, don't go looking at Disney foods because you will regret it.
So I looked it up, and it looks like it originally debuted at the Food and Wine Festival in March.
Oh.
This pretzel, and it must be just a holdover. It must have been so popular. Let's see. All the ingredients, so you know, this article says it includes corn 3 ways, which I didn't know there's 3 ways to do corn, but that's okay.
It's just how they processed it, because it was the
like whole corn, like
whole corn, cream corn.
Oh yeah, there's popcorn. Yeah, and like cream corn or something. Yeah. Cilantro sprigs, radish. Word I can't say. Cotija. C-O-T-I-J-A.
You got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, give me. And
Cotija
You
cheese.
did good.
And flavored crema.
Yeah.
That's what's on there.
Was the crema spicy?
Not too much. No, not too much. It was good. It was like a good amount.
Oh man, I'm looking at the picture of it again. I can't do this right now.
I'm sorry.
It's so damn tasty.
I don't know how I feel about popcorn on there, but you know what?
It wasn't bad. Like
something. I mean, I also don't like almost anything on there because
that is
I'm the
true.
pickiest eater in the world. So that's fine. It's just not a pretzel for me. I'll eat the plain one with the beer cheese or whatever and be good.
You know, I'm looking at this pretzel, and like you're saying, you're picky about everything on there. But I'm having one of those moments. Like, I'm having one of those moments. Remember the Friends episode where Rachel makes the trifle and Joey starts eating it? Like, there's all these layers of, like, random ingredients. And he's like, what's not to like? You got pretzel? Good. Corn? Good. Popcorn? Good. Like, that's how I feel right now. Like, everything on here is just good, right?
Yeah.
Popcorn and lime and radish. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
It's like I don't know. It's like a warm hug for your mouth. I don't know how else to describe it.
Food is good, but anyway.
So real quickly, just to cap this off, good times in there. Heard the Dora Milaje music. Wanted to go to battle with them. It's just fun. So we go back to Disneyland. And I got to see the end of the MSC parade.
Nice.
That's nice. The only thing I could say was, what? After I had seen it, because it... Yeah, no. I felt bad. I felt bad. It's...
Still feeling it, huh?
I was like, I caught the end of it, which is fine. That's all I wanted to see was the final float. Pretty. No. It could have ended with Elliot. Perfect.
No more big.
You know, I was picture.
No.
I was looking up stuff for Quizneyland and just how many changes there have been to the Main Street Electrical Parade over the years, and how many different electrical parades there have been just in the past.
A lot.
In general. Mm-hmm. There's no reason they could have just not redone everything. Like they could have just everything LED, everything this, whatever, if they really wanted to. There's no good reason other than money.
Did. It's called Paint the Night.
Yes, well, that's also true. They could have just added the Small World float to Paint the Night, and it would have been fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would fit.
There has to be a bigger reason why Paint the Night is coming back. Did it explode? Did something happen? Did they just throw it in the garbage?
You mean that it's not coming back?
Like, yeah, that it hasn't come back yet.
Yeah.
Like like for the third time or whatever. There has to be a reason other than we think Main Street Electrical Parade sells better or whatever. Because I think Paint the Night had just as good of, audiences, if not better.
Oh,
the same. It's just the same. It's a parade. Everybody sits for a parade. You could put a freaking Winnie the Pooh on a stick and walk around the thing, and everybody would watch it.
Yeah.
Because it's a parade. Like, it's a parade time. We got to sit and watch the parade. But there has to be something. Did all the batteries, get recalled and they were using some special battery technology or is it just does it have more cast members in it than Main Street Electrical Parade and they're trying to save money that way or something blah 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 blah. I don't know. I think they're about similar cast member wise when you think about like all the ones that have to hold that canopy for the princesses and all the different things. There's a lot of cast members in the Main Street Electrical Parade. 7 Dwarves, like there's plenty. So I have a feeling there must be, or it's ignorance, but there must be a reason why Paint the Night's not coming back other than ignorance or something or popularity.
Stubbornness?
There's gotta be. There's gotta be something that like a World of Color situation where it's like, well, this thing was flooded and it broke and we're waiting for, the parts to come, but the Department of Defense is, I don't know, clogging up the thing. This is rumors I heard. But there's gotta be a reason. I was gonna say there's gotta be a reason. That's my thought.
Here's what I think. Okay. I think there's two or three things going on here. So one, it's a 50th anniversary for Main Street Electrical Parade. So they're bringing it back, obviously, for the 20th time because there's the nostalgia factor. We've talked about it before.
Great.
There's people that really connect with it. And
fantastic.
After the last 2 years of, being at home, people being, staying away from it, the parks being closed and everything, there was a sense of people wanting to reconnect with the world as they remember it 2019 and before, right? So bringing something back like the Main Street Electrical Parade, it hits on many levels for people because it's that instant nostalgia, it's that dopamine hit or whatever you want to call it, because it's there. It's an instant reminder of what life was like before the pandemic. So it makes sense that they would want to reconnect with it. Do I think Paint the Night is eventually going to come back? Yes. Do I think that it's sitting somewhere rusting because they didn't take care of it properly? Damn, I hope not. Because then it's less likely that they're going to bring it back, or that, if it's damaged, that it'll come back as something else.
Well,
but
it's not backstage at Disneyland. We know this.
Yeah.
It can't be. There's no room.
Right. So I don't know where it is. That's my speculation on the whole thing. Like, I think it's just the fact that the pandemic happened and the fact that after being closed for so long, they wanted something that felt comforting for people to begin to go back to the parks. Like, it's their way of reminding people that Disneyland is a happy place and that you can forget about the world outside of the gates and everything. So eventually I think Paint the Night will come back. I mean,
why do they not bring back Remember Dreams Come True? Sorry.
So that one's
very
a good
valid.
Because Disneyland Forever, as much as I like it, if they really wanted the nostalgia hit, you're right, they should have brought back Remember Dreams Come True. I know that my argument sounds okay for Main Street Electrical Parade. I don't know how to help you when it comes to the fireworks show.
It's a toss-up. We had this one in the hopper, the fireworks. Well, we have all these fireworks still from these ones, and we don't have the Remember Dreams Come True ones or whatever. I don't know. Also, I was sitting here thinking one day, and I was like, they keep doing fireworks shows, and they're stupid. So somebody should come up with a better fireworks show that's not stupid. Because every time they're like, okay, here's the fireworks show. Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary fireworks show. What is in it? Aladdin and Finding Nemo and whatever. I want to go farther as to be like, okay, this is the fireworks show, and we always put the movies in. I want the Disney Corporation fireworks show. So we get the movies, we get the Muppets, we get the Indiana Jones, we get Alien, we get Titanic, we get the Simpsons and Marvel and everything they own in a fireworks show. This is my project that I might end up working on if I can get some help with composing music or whatever. But I have an idea, and I think it would be funny to have a fireworks show, or like the Disney Plus fireworks show, or the the Walt Disney Corporation corporate spectacular, or something. I don't know. Why not go farther? Why is the 50th of Walt Disney World only have the animated films? Why does it not have Splash and the Apple Dumpling Gang or whatever? I don't know. And Black Panther and The Simpsons. Deadpool. I don't know. Like,
he opens up the show.
Yep.
Why not? Why?
Imagine
not?
Homer and Deadpool in front of the castle. It's like, ooh, what's going on? Hey,
like put
Homer,
Michael Strahan in there
over
from Good Morning America or whatever. Like, I don't care.
Okay,
At this
now you're
point,
crossing
put
the
everybody
line.
in it.
Now you're
You know
crossing
what?
the line.
That would be
Regis,
fun.
it's Regis on The Millionaire. Like, it's everybody. Everybody's in it. It's an everybody fireworks show, spectacular company, spectacular. So, if anybody wants to work on that project with me that knows how to do music and stuff, I got some ideas. I think that would be funny. If not, it might just be a weird mashup that I make and put on for the FGP Squad or something. But that's a funny idea I had, and maybe it'll happen. Who knows?
You know how when we were talking about what didn't happen for Disneyland, like they didn't play Walt's speech because somebody just forgot, or like
Whatever,
somebody just
yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
know where they left the tape, they couldn't find it or something, so they couldn't play it. Like this Disneyland Forever, like I almost feel fits into that same description because they're so different. Like Disneyland Forever obviously has the Live the Magic music, but then it's got like, it does what? Sky and jungle and sea and like Let It Go is in there.
What does it
and,
have
like,
to do with Disneyland?
Right. It doesn't. Thinking back on the
Nothing.
show, I mean, I loved it, right? But I think
It's
I
fine. It's a
loved
good
it-
fireworks show.
Yeah, I think I loved it more because of Live the Magic. Like that music, that song, I think I really enjoyed, and I think that's the reason why I like the show so much. When you compare it to Remember Dreams Come True, I mean, that went through all the lands, right? It was
Yes.
a
Yeah.
really great tour.
And then they
of
cut
the
out
entire
Frontierland
park.
for some reason.
Right.
Right. So I don't know. Yeah, there definitely could have been a better choice to bring it back, and especially to make the connection with the Main Street Electrical Parade. That's a really great way to do it by bringing that fireworks show. So it could have just been that they didn't because they couldn't find the soundtrack to it.
You know
Should've
what?
just gone on YouTube.
Something's. You know what? I could have did it. 12 come to this happy place, chimichanga, and then Deadpool comes out and
Chimichanga, you say?
you know whatever. Exactly.
Ooh, chimichanga.
Yeah, and Homer's there. Everybody's there. Happy 60. What is it? 7? Whatever it is this year. It's like Homer and Deadpool.
That'll be the day.
They're both on Disney Plus right now. You know what? It could happen.
It's true. It's very true. So, you know what? I think that's a great place to end this episode. Thinking about how Homer and Deadpool will appear in the next fireworks
The
show.
best of friends. The Homer Deadpool friendship extravaganza
Yes.
firework spectacular.
Oh, man. I could just imagine. Oh, you're putting so many thoughts in my head. Like, I'm thinking of T-shirt designs, Homer trying to put on a Deadpool costume.
Yes.
It's like they don't fit over his belly. Yeah.
You know what? That's what Tomorrowland should be. They should rip Springfield out of Universal and bring Springfield to Tomorrowland.
There we go. No more Tomorrowland. It's just Springfield.
That's
this
not going
point-
to raise any eyebrows anywhere.
No.
Something with a cohesive design. That Springfield's got a cohesive design. You might say other stuff about it, but it's got a theme. That's for sure.
Listen, Springfield, the way that it's designed, looks very similar to Toontown, okay? It's only a hop, skip, and a jump away. If you kind of set up walls or something, you can easily transition it into Toontown. So, you're welcome.
There we go. Springfield into Toontown.
Yeah,
Mickey and Homer. Yeah, I don't know. Well, we already saw Goofy and Homer getting drunk together or whatever. That happened
true.
On Disney Plus. That
true.
happened on Disney Plus.
So
Don't ever
canon.
forget. Goofy gets drunk. Everybody. It was on Disney Plus for all your children to watch.
It's true.
Just
it
remember.
Was there. All right. So yeah, I think that's a great place to end this episode. So, any final comments on anything that we talked about before we close it out?
Drunk Goofy. That's what can you do?
All right, so that's gonna wrap it up. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep moving forward, and always remember to pass on the magic. Have a fantastic week, everyone.
Bye.
See ya. Gorsh.
Deadpool and Homer.
Glug, glug, glug.
Part of the Podketeers Network.